Hello, music theory class. This is the start of a series of videos about Chapter 2. I think I'll be doing 6 short videos about Chapter 2, each for a different section of the chapter. And the summary I'm going to leave for you to read on your own. So this first video will be about the scales, major scales, pages 27 through up to page 32 in the middle. So here we go. That looks like you should be able to zoom in on that page then. Might try to move this a little closer. So this is page 27, and I would look over all these words up here and think about if you know what they mean, or if you don't know what they mean, when you get to them in the chapter, make a note of it. So a scale, they say, is their explanation is a collection of pitches in ascending and descending order. You can have many different types of scales. So then a pitch class is all notes of the same name regardless of octave. So it doesn't matter if it's in this octave or that octave, it's still a G. So here's a melody from Haydn Symphony number 94. And if you just count all the G's and put them in one place, the lowest note is, well, it's not the lowest note of the melody, but the lowest note of the scale. If they look at it carefully, they can realize that the notes form the scale of G. So we say the piece is in the key of G, it uses the scale of G. So there's many, well, an infinite apparently, variety of pitch combinations, but the scales in this chapter are the most common ones. Diatonic means across the tones, and for your purposes that means that if you're going to call something like a second, the alphabet letter has to be a second away. So you couldn't, for example, say G to G double sharp is a second. You'd have to say G to A. So a major scale, and any diatonic scale is going to be a mixture of half steps and whole steps. And every tone in the scale plays a particular role. Like, for example, the tonic is the keynote. It is the point of rest from which everything moves away from or toward. So read that paragraph on your own. G is the tonic. A is the supertonic. B is the mediant because it is midway between the tonic and the dominant. C is the subdominant because it's below the dominant, and D is the dominant. So the two most important notes in the scale are the tonic and the dominant. And you can hear that the dominant leads you back to the tonic. For example, if I played the Irish Washerwoman, here's your point of rest. Here's your point of unrest leading to a resolution back to the point of rest. That's my least favorite sound on this keyboard. Below this on page 28, they give you the definition of the names. I've gone over them on some of my other videos. Again, tonic is the first note. Dominant is the second note, most important note. It's the fifth note in the scale. The note below it is the subdominant. The note halfway between the tonic and the dominant is the is the mediant. And the second note is the supertonic because it's supertonic, it's above the tonic. So after the dominant, you have the submediant because it's halfway between the tonic at the top and the subdominant. And then the note that is a half step below the tonic is called the leading tone. If you're in a natural minor scale, which we'll get to in the next video, a lot of times the 7th scale degree is not a half step below the tonic, and then it has to be called the subtonic. So read over these definitions and commit them to memory. here is a C major scale. Tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, leading tone, tonic. The parallel minor of C minor in its natural form has a tonic, a supertonic, a mediant, that is a minor third above the tonic instead of being a major third above the tonic, subdominant, dominant, submediant, subtonic, tonic, because of the arrangement of whole steps and half steps of a natural minor scale, which we'll get to shortly. The major scale is a scale of 7 different pitch classes, or 7 different pitches, that go, with whole steps separating adjacent tones except for half steps between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. So it's starting note, then whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. The octave above the 8th note has the same note as the first note because they are the same pitch. They're just an octave apart. You can divide the scale into, so if you look at the C scale, there we go. You can take the C major scale and divide it into 2 parts. Each part has the same pattern. Starting note, whole step, half step. Starting note, whole step, half step. They happen to be a whole step apart. So that's another way of thinking of it. Tetra means 4. So when they say tetrachords, they mean a group of 4 pitches. And here's the picture of the whole, half, whole step connecting the 2 whole, half. So here's the melody using, and they put the numbers here to show you the scale degrees. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 3, 2. In oral skills, you'll be learning to do the solfege, which would be do, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, 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 la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, so, do, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, la, ti, do, fa, mi, re, do. Now you can transpose that whole thing to G major, because if you know your G major scale, and then you just go by the scale degrees or the intervals. So do, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, 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 la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, so, do, la, so, fa, mi, re, sol, la, ti, do, fa, mi, re, do. So you see, transposing isn't so scary after all. Now the key signature is the sharps or flats that they put at the beginning of a piece to tell you what key you are in. And it depends on what sharps or flats are in the scale. So this page shows you all the major keys, well, most of the major keys and some over here. Now I've gone over all of this in my little magnetic board, but you might benefit from, even if you don't want to do the right fingering, just take a finger, just take any finger. I'll see if I can do this. So take your second finger and pick out the C scale. Then pick out the F scale. Then pick out the B flat scale. And the E flat scale. And the A flat scale. back over on the next page. We have D flat and G flat and C flat. And then pick out the major scales. So G, the sharp scales. I meant the sharp scales. Or D. And then A. And E. Or B. Or F sharp. I'll do that again. Or C sharp. So just park yourself in practice room. Wipe the keys down with hydrogen peroxide, which we'll be hopefully getting in the rooms there, and then punch all these out so you have a feeling. Or if you have a laptop or a tablet that you can get a keyboard app or something like that, see where it is on the piano keyboard so you get a sense of how they're built. Okay, part 2 is next.